The MoneroTopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys.
Yeah, we're bringing you up, man. Anything you want to put out there? I mean, it looks like so the voting's still coming in. We think the votes should be counted from people that are coming in the room, considering, they are Monero community members. They're not, members of the Majestic Bank company. I would understand why you wouldn't want situations like that to happen.
I think Dadajo compared the situation itself to the Majestic Bank one. He didn't compare you guys to Majestic Bank, of course.
I know, but what I'm saying is the situations are not analogous, right? Because Majestic Bank was a for-profit instant exchange, right, that sponsors MoneroCon, that was looking to shill Majestic Bank. MoneroTopia is just another branch of the Monero community. It's another Monero-based conference. So by excluding the people that are from MoneroTopia land, you're just excluding Monero community members in making decisions for the MoneroCon conference. And if it's supposed to be a community-based Monero conference, you should be open to listening to Monero members, Monero users, Monero community members. All right. I don't know. We got more votes coming in, I think.
The voting has ended.
Voting has ended. Okay. So what was the vote? How many fors against abstains?
I put together a list and I announced it. If anyone I left out messages me with the reply to that message, I will count it in. I will give this like 5 minutes, so no votes are left out, and then we count.
Vote ended. +1. The autism levels are off the charts. A mountain out of a molehill. We shouldn't have to join and vote. HBS, the plan is to have beanbags again this year in 2 areas, one with Monero Con Talks and one with MoneroTopia stream. All right, so we had we had CT 0, Rotten -1, Tux +1, Doug +1, Pseudo +1, Recan 0, Monero +1, Comrade 0, Francisco 0, HBS +1, Alaska Anon +1, the Dojo 0, JW -1. Monero UK +1. Okay.
So far, you're at +5.
All right. I mean, not for nothing, but good thing I did jump into the chat last week after it was voted down. Otherwise, this just would have, the collaboration would have never happened. We would have just let it fall apart. So while you guys might think I'm an asshole for jumping in the MoneroCon chat and talking about it and insisting that we do something about it, I'm glad I actually did put the energy into it. It's unfortunate that I had to. It took unfortunately, a lot of time and emotional energy, but I guess in retrospect, I am glad I did do it.
Body has an interesting comment. Can he comment on why they let Xano speak, but then come ask the Monero community for CCS money to let Xano speak? And I think he's talking about last year, because Xano spoke last year, right? I do remember that.
Yeah. I don't know, Comrade, do you have a comment on that? Or?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I remember. My year has been a bit long, and with everything, I'm planning on moving out and stuff. I don't remember Xano sponsoring last year. They probably did if Body remembers that.
Well, they spoke. That's what he's mentioning, is that they spoke last year.
Okay.
And even this year, they're allowed to speak, right? They're just not allowed to sponsor. Is that correct?
Well, speaking is allowed if the one person that's speaking is not endorsing something, but actually speaks about technological stuff or news on Monero, like any kind of technology or Monero related matter that's not endorsing something. Let's say, for example, we will have a talk about a 3D printed gun that can be fully 3D printed without any endorsing, just the technology behind it, and it will be without any politics or such involved.
Right, but the Xano devs can come give a talk theoretically on some breakthrough they had in
Sure,
Xano where they're adding some
feel
new
free,
tech,
of course.
right? Right, which is what all of their talks have been to date. By the way, I've never seen. We never had Xano at MoneroTopia just come up on stage and talk about why people should buy Xano. It's always been very technical. It's been the devs. We've even had Monero devs that contributed to Xano. That came up with like Ko. I'm sure you're familiar with Ko. He was the one that helped develop the hybrid proof of work, proof of stake system for Xano. He gave a talk. So yeah, I imagine it would be technical. So they're allowed to give talks. They're just not allowed to sponsor. And what was the reason why they're not allowed to sponsor, and why DarkFi is not allowed to participate?
DarkFi has some legal issues, which I've mentioned. For the same reason that I don't remember Xeno, we had a meeting about this, like, I don't know, about in December or maybe at the end of November. Siren has mentioned some issues with them, which are pretty understandable. I don't remember the issues. I remember that I noted them as okay. We should, well, not let them, but not prefer them to sponsor, and that way we didn't accept their sponsorship if they would. I guess if you just send Siren a message in the chat here, she can probably talk to you about that.
Okay, I'm not sure. Like, but what was the ultimate reason why Xano was why MoneroCon voted against allowing them to sponsor?
For some other reason, as for DarkFi, we had a meeting about this. I will try to search that up for you.
All right.
We keep track of our votes
Mm-hmm.
on such matters, and then of course apply them to some related votes
So
as we are going on.
Is
Yes?
DarkFi allowed to speak at MoneroCon?
Actually, I don't remember. I remember that we are abstaining from letting them sponsor.
Okay.
Feel free to ask, and the guys probably keep track of it. I have a ton of things going on right now.
No, I know, man. And, I'm sorry to be hard on you, but I was responding to what I saw happen last week.
Sure.
And I just saw a bunch of people, and, I don't mean to pin this, you were the one out of the gate because you're the guy organizing everything. I get it. You're the one who runs the meeting. So the meeting was kicked off with a vote against, and then others followed. And it was just disappointing to see that happen in a way where, like, it really wasn't given much consideration. It was just like, just treating it like it didn't really matter. So, yeah, didn't mean to put all the, angst on you and direct the negative and my negative sentiment towards you. It's more just directed towards the MoneroCon board in general, or members, or voting members, and I don't know. I think I think moving forward, I don't know. Yeah, you guys do what you got to do. I don't know. I don't have the time to participate in like the MoneroCon and help organize things, but it just seems like some small issues are made into ones that don't need to be so large, and it's unfortunate to see that MoneroCon now needs to do a CCS to raise community funds because they're denying sponsorships. I mean, that doesn't seem like a good direction to take the conference in. And I know, AJ did a good job building it up and giving it momentum, and he got it to the point where it was profitable last year. So it's unfortunate to see it kind of take a step backwards for political reasons, just shooting itself in the foot.
Last year we had funds from the previous year left over from a CCS.
Okay, so it was kind of profitable because there were still Monero CCS funds covering it, is what you're saying.
As well, yes.
Okay, but even so, right? You get my point. Like, shouldn't it, if you're not a pure community-based conference, otherwise you would have no sponsors at all, right? You would just do a CCS and people buy tickets. It's like a hybrid. You still take on sponsorships, but then you guys are political
You are right.
with the sponsors you accept. And we
You're
are too,
right.
right? We're not going to, like, MoneroTopia isn't going to accept the sponsor from some complete, like, I don't know, scam coin that wants to just come and, like, shill their stuff. Like, we do have, some level of filtration there, right? We want you to be, working on an honest open source project, and you could come and shill your privacy tech if you sponsor us, if you support the conference, we'll let you take the stage. But MoneroCon, I don't really understand what, like, they're using to decide who does and doesn't get to sponsor, and it just seems to be a little bit political in the end.
Am I right, comrade? If you guys filtered the votes, it would still be a +1, right? So arguing about this is basically pointless.
CT0 rotten.
Oh, they don't want to count our votes? Yeah. The Dojo. Why didn't we accept all the votes from Majestic Bank?
Yes, you're right.
Monero members.
Okay, so this argument's basically pointless to have in the chat. It's a
Yep.
+1 anyway.
Okay, so let me comment on all the things. Of course, I would say it's understandable that you directed some things against me. I'm not going to say that it's not a problem, because of course it's a problem. I don't appreciate it, but I guess we can just go on with it. What was the previous thing that you said just after discussing that you are sorry for?
I was just saying it's unfortunate to see that MoneroCon has to raise money from the community because they're
right.
arbitrarily deciding to reject certain sponsors.
Sure. We had a discussion about this as well in a meeting. Currently, we would be profitable, just La Fabrica and now Perillinipolis, which has rebranded to... Let me just check the correct name.
They're no longer even Parnellipolis, huh?
Yeah, they rebranded.
And it's not run by the same people anymore.
It's run by the same people. I'm not able to find their brands right now.
Okay.
Anyway, so they are taking too much money for the venue, and we got a late response this year, which we couldn't have gone and looked for another venue at this time. Of course, next year, HBS just mentioned it's rebranded to Second Culture. So next year we are probably not going to take them as a venue because they're expensive. This year we just didn't have any time to do so, to search for another venue. So the profitability part will be solved. Hopefully, of course.
MoneroCon is saying, okay. MoneroCon is saying, I think MoneroCon is correct to refuse shitty sponsors for a cost to the CCS. Yeah, but define a shitty sponsor, right? Like I'm saying, like, I don't know. I guess that's for them to decide. MoneroCon is, I guess it's just more Monero Maxi than MoneroTopia is at the end of the day, right? So MoneroTopia is willing to have Xano be a sponsor. MoneroCon is not, but yet they'll have other, cryptos, right? I believe Tari, right? Or Firo. Firo is a sponsor. So Firo passes the test, and I don't know. Is Firo, doesn't Firo have a corporation as part of their structure, right? Similar to Zcash. So I don't even understand what metric is being used to decide. Does Tari get to sponsor? Would Tari be allowed to sponsor MoneroCon?
Oh,
Do we
we
know?
had a vote on that. Let me just search that up. I'm sure that there is not
I mean,
much
Tari
Tari
doesn't even
keywords.
exist yet. Either does DarkFi for that matter. But there was some VC funding involved in Tari, I believe, and they essentially have a dev tax, right? I don't know. I haven't looked at Tari in so
Yeah,
long because it never
Tari would
launched.
be allowed to sponsor.
Tari. So what's the reasoning why Tari is allowed to sponsor and Xano's not?
Well, there's a reason behind Xeno not being allowed to sponsor, which can be found in the chat if you are patient enough to go back,
Okay.
or some other staff member could comment on that. I would really appreciate it. Generally, we don't have a reason for being allowed to sponsor, but we have a reason for not being allowed to sponsor. Make sense?
Yeah. I'm just curious what that reason is and how that would then differentiate from Tari and why that same reasoning wouldn't apply to Tari is guess what I'm curious about.
I will try
yeah.
to find the reason either during the meeting or after the meeting.
Okay. I guess because of the pre-mine, but isn't Tari effectively pre-mine too, or it's just a dev tax? But aren't we saying a dev tax?
I think the pre-mine definitely has something to do with it. Xeno is a full pre-mine, right?
No, full pre. I don't know. No, it's got some. There was a pre-mine. It comes from
The Bullberry.
yeah, Bullberry is. We went through this exhaustively with
Oh
Untraceable.
my word, super long.
You guys, you could go watch it. That's all been aired, but I just don't know how it differentiates that much from Tari in terms of their structure. I believe there's VCs involved with the launching of Tari, right?
It sounds like it just boils down to a few specific nitpicks about how the crypto started out. So
yeah. Stop being gay, MoneroCon tip 50 cents. Pretty obvious that this is a personal vendetta against Doug and MoneroTopia. The reasons are almost completely arbitrary and double standard. Appreciate that. I think it's more just the MoneroCon like being its own worst enemy. Unfortunately, I think it's more that like I don't know. When you get a committee of people to run things, this is unfortunately this is how things often go down. So. All right. So we passed the vote, right? I guess not all the votes were counted, but it still is moot.
you still passed either way.
Okay.
Assuming
Alright.
JW intern isn't counted as well, and then it would be +1. If JW intern is counted in, then it would be a 0. You have to revote.
It comes down to JW again, literally the guy who started all this drama.
Because somebody said he
That's
shouldn't be
funny.
counted in the vote, someone else said he should be, so it just depends.
Well, I mean, if you're going to count him, then I don't see how you don't count, like, Alaska, right? Are they saying, like, Alaska doesn't count?
One of the guys
And,
who
like, they're
was-
saying you don't count either?
Yeah, I wouldn't count if they're going by this specific list of, like, I guess, active MoneroCon meeting participants, something like that.
You got to be active. This is so open-ended. Like, when are you
Yeah.
considered active?
Yeah, it's like
Something like
I'm
that.
not. I've got other things I need to do. I'm not looking at this all the time, you know.
Yeah, same here.
But I'm still like, you are, I am, Alaska are prominent people in the Monero community, and we are. At least I and Doug are attendees of MoneroCon, so.
Yeah, and the reason why we can't participate in MoneroCon meetings is because we literally run a Monero-based community show every Saturday that happens at the same time. So I would think MoneroCon would want the MoneroTopia show to continue on, and they wouldn't want us to cancel the show so we could go participate in MoneroCon meetings. I would hope that that's what they would want. Francisco M. agreed, and thanks for the special participation in MoneroTopia, guys. You guys are always welcome to participate. So overall, I think it's whatever. It's unfortunate that all this drama had to happen, but I'm sure we'll all be stronger because of it. I can't even have. I kind of lost the chat here. I think there's nothing else to pull from it, right?
I think it was pretty much concluded.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
All
so
right. Wow.
Sorry, go ahead,
Yes,
Blin.
Comrade, go ahead.
yeah, DarkFi. The reason is that they are kind of on the list of the European Union's Council decision updating the list of persons, groups, and entities covered by the Common Petition 2001/931 CFS P on the application of specific measures to combat terrorism and repealing decision CFSP
Wait, what?
2024. Let me just paste the link in here.
So DarkFi is, but not Monero.
So wait, this is like some legal action by
They are
government?
kind of on that list, and Siren and some other people had some concerns that it's probably not a good thing to collaborate with people on that list, because that could backfire sometime later.
Okay, but are we arbitrarily?
Yeah.
It's not like you can't, right? It's just you think it's not a good idea. I mean, what is
Yeah,
the Monero
right.
ethos about? I mean,
Where's
we
this
going-
list? What is
he
this
sent
list?
the
called?
link to it in the chat.
Private chat.
Oh, private chat. Okay.
Of course, many of the staff members, like myself and Siren, STMBY are doxed, so I think it's understandable that we decided not to pursue this.
And so who's on the list? DarkFi itself?
Kind of. Let me just tell you the exact one.
What? This is crazy. Why isn't this like bigger news in general? The fact that DarkFi is even on this list.
Well, was it just maybe Amir Taki himself?
Yeah, I mean that I could see maybe
Could
it's
be.
Amir Taki that's on the list.
Let me just grab the.
Wow.
Makes me like. I don't know much about DarkFi, but that makes me like it even more.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like
It's somewhere
they
around.
know they are welcome at MoneroTopia. They've been a part of it the last couple times. Amir was at MoneroTopia last year.
Those matrix links don't paste right for some reason, Blin. So unfortunately, the link's broken. If I copy it,
I don't think it's broken. Just it's not displaying
it doesn't
right.
hyperlink it properly, but I'll copy it.
Well, you can copy and paste it. Yeah. It's somewhere around there in the discussion of what's the problem.
Here's a document they're talking about. Updated lists of persons, groups, and entities covered by the common position on the application of specific measures to combat terrorism and repealing decision 224/3032. So just people on the European Union shit list that they're trying to label as terrorists, including developers of open source technology. That's a big problem, right? That's kind of like what we were talking about with Tornado Cash earlier. Came up in the news, which looks like in the U.S. they dropped the charges, right, Tux? Is that what I heard in the news section?
Yeah, Tornado Cash is.
They dropped
not
the
OFAC
sanctions.
yeah.
They dropped the sanctions. That's huge. That's tremendous. Obviously, that's the way things should be. But it looks like DarkFi or perhaps Amir or somebody is on this list, which is very unfortunate to see. Basically labeling open source devs and open source tools, privacy tools, as dangerous to the state because it can be used by terrorists or whatnot. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think we should really be complying with the EU's list, but I guess
we are after all in the EU, so
yeah, it's understandable from that regard. Like I said, I'd like to see who or what is actually on that list.
I will try to get back to you on the proper information.
And yeah, once again, maybe another reason why I don't know. MoneroCon maybe should be happening somewhere else. I don't know. Shortwave tip tournament. Crazy that the Porkfest tent costs 69 Monero. Is it 69? It's 12K for the tent. It's actually a good deal. I mean, it's a week-long conference, and it's like it's the best location at Porkfest, the biggest tent, and it comes with some other things, giving us. I think we get to choose one speaker that goes on the Porkfest main stage, and then obviously the tent itself strategically located, and we'll have our own talks going on in there. So,
Sorry, it's not quite 69. It's only 56. If you're taking into the current price.
That is funny. Good catch, Shortwave. Somebody's saying they should seriously consider moving it to Stockholm. HBS MK MoneroCon takes place in the EU, so we have to ensure we comply with EU laws and regulations, which is not something Monero Talk has to do. That's understandable. I get that. It's kind of scary, very scary. I mean, shit. So if Monero goes on the list, then I guess MoneroCon is no longer taking place in Europe.
Dude, imagine
Of
it moves
course.
to the United States because it gets put on some list in the EU, so it moves back to the US because, I mean, it's nothing wrong with it here.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it's that far off. They just have to, well, you know, what if they put, God forbid, some other, like they put some Monero dev on this list? I don't know. Did you, HBS, did you find, Comrade, did you find what exactly was on the
The
list?
exact message that we decided not to go further with them is PBK, groups and entities. DarkFi is either associated or is PKK militia. I'm not sure if Siren would like to come on or just comment on this one too in private or
Yeah, I would
Monero
just like to
chat.
see the link to the official thing where it's showing DarkFi as essentially being on that list.
Is that the Kurdistan Workers' Party?
Yes.
Interesting.
So how does that? Wait, that by way of that, but the Kurdistan Locals Party being on the list, DarkFi is on the list because Amir is allegedly associated with both of these things. That's
I would understand so, yes.
okay, but does it say DarkFi or just says this party, the Kurdistan party?
Amir Taki. Is it Amir Taki? I'm assuming it is because he's the only, I think.
I don't think
person.
so.
Oh, you think
I
it's
will
someone else? Okay, interesting.
I will ask Siren privately and report back to you after the meeting.
Okay.
Oh, all right. Okay. Comrade, man, thank you. Thanks for sticking with this despite me being a jerk. But like I said, I do think my jerkness was warranted. I was responding to the fact that MoneroCon nonchalantly voted against collaborating with MoneroTopia. And it's unfortunate that we had to have this drama all week, but at least we were able to push forward and allow for, I guess, kind of greater democracy here by having more people in the Monero community see what was going on and participate and help.
Okay. If I may, of course, if there's anything next time that you would like to point out, if there is next time that we, I don't know, deny something or just not favoring something, feel free to just comment that you don't align with the idea of it, and maybe there should be an appeal, like revote and considering other facts that you mentioned. So.
Okay.
As far as I've seen, you came in and like wrote a few walls of text. Of course, that made some people mad, and then you were made mad, and there was this whole back and forth.
Yeah.
Of course,
I felt like I was highly disrespected. I had people labeling me. They're like, why are we gonna give Doug this favor? Like, how is this like a favor to Doug? I'm trying to. Like, sure,
Yeah,
I
understand your
ignored the whole
perspective as well.
idea and went and just did MoneroTopia on my own. But I thought by putting more effort into the Monero project, by trying to collaborate, I was helping. I didn't need to, I could have just
I
played
understand.
MoneroCon talks at MoneroTopia without asking to collaborate. I didn't need to ask anybody for permission. I thought it would have been a good thing. And so that's why it frustrated me that then people in the MoneroCon chat that were voting were labeling me as somebody who's looking for a favor. I feel like I'm doing the Monero community a favor by doing these events and trying to like get this collaboration going and always trying to grow Monero. Instead, it was framed as me asking the Monero community for a favor, which was just like,
Of
it's,
course,
that's
I
frustrating.
can't
That's
speak
frustrating.
for other people.
Yeah,
With those texts, it looked like you took the problem too personally, and of course they
yeah,
replied
I did.
with personal things.
I definitely did take it personally.
Next time, if there's next time, just come in. Let us know that there's a problem with this decision, and of course we are going to revisit that topic next week and decide on it. And for the part that Monero can publicity, everyone is free to vote. Come and vote on weekends, Saturdays at 17 UTC.
Okay. Yeah, I mean the only thing is that's during the show, so
Yeah,
that's the only
right.
problem. That's another
I mean,
problem.
the agenda
But
is
yeah,
public before,
yeah.
so they can just
Okay.
decide which topic they want to visit and